What is going on, team? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Fitzy, and I am a former soft operator and the founder of Warfighter Athletic. Okay, it's been a long time coming, but we are now getting started with stepping up our YouTube game and pumping out content. Kicking off, we just want to get into little, I guess, snack size pieces of content. Come in, share some value, food for thought, to help with your pursuit of excellence in your chosen endeavor. Okay. And so recently I had an email from a young man come through, and I thought this particular topic would be beneficial to most. And I think for all of us at some point in life, we've experienced this. Okay. And so it's, what do you do when you start to lose motivation, when the fire inside starts to go out a little bit? Okay, I've personally been there. I think we can all relate to a period in our life where, for whatever reason, something that got us really excited at one point in time no longer gets us excited anymore. Okay, and so I think when you're trying to regain motivation, when you're trying to get back on track, the first thing to do is stop and remember why you started. More often than not, there is the goal and there is the reason we started. And I would take the time to dig into that. I do this myself still to this day. In the past, it was during my military career, to get myself excited again, to get myself focused again, and to remember what we're working towards. And in this case of my military career, even in the absence of operational deployments that I was wanting to go on. Okay, so for me, it was, how do I stay motivated as a special operations operator who's not deploying? And it was frustrating. I'm not going to lie. But again, so for you guys, I would sit there and I would take the time and think about, okay, well, why did you start in the first place? Why did you set out after this thing? And I would go deeper than that. I would look into what were the feelings and the emotions, and at the deeper level, because most people start out, okay, they want to lose a little weight. They want to lose a little weight. They want to increase their lifts in the gym. They want to improve their run times. And more often than not, it comes down to something that's deeper, whether it is stepping up and becoming a better version of yourself for your partner, for your children. And if you are in a first responder role, if you are in the military, it's to better serve your country and to be the standard that people follow, whether it is family, whether it is your children, whether it is your partner, or whether you are a leader within a team and you want to be an example for them to follow. And leading from the front is always the best example. And so I would dig into that. um, that's the first thing, is going deep and understanding at the deepest level your why. Why did you start? Why did you begin this thing? And get emotional on it. Don't try go surface level, because the reason that you've lost motivation, the reason you're lacking motivation, is because you've forgotten the deep underlying reason why you started getting after this thing in the first place. The next thing to understand is, no matter how big something is, no matter how exciting something is, and again, example, Warfighter Athletic. I love this company. I love this community. I am grateful to call this a job. But sometimes, maybe it's my ADHD nature, but sometimes I do get, I would call, bored. And that's when I've got to remind myself that, okay, it can't always be all go. It can't always be super exciting. And sometimes the grind is monotonous. It is mundane. It is Groundhog Day. It is the same thing again and again and again, on rinse and repeat. And again, when I was in special operations, we had an assault sergeant and would turn up to work. And I remember he would say, "Today is a good day for good repetitious training." And that's just the damn truth. The only way we get good at anything is by doing it again and again and again. And that can get mundane and that can get a little bit boring. So, next is understanding that and then accepting that. And when you go back and revisit your why and you accept it is going to be Groundhog Day, it is going to be a little bit rinse and repeat, there's something inside you that accepts that, embraces that, and then kind of enjoys that you are the type who is going to turn up every single day. You are the type who is going to grind it out, even if it is Groundhog Day. Why? Because this is just what we do. This is just what you do. And that's why we get ahead. That's how we separate ourselves from the pack. The next thing is understanding, again, kind of based on the last point, which is motivation isn't forever. Motivation is temporary, fucking discipline is for forever. And that is just the way it is. And that's why once you've gone through those first two things, the next part is understanding that you have to cultivate discipline because motivation won't always be there. And so what I replied to this guy is, we're going to use the gym for an example because this is the context of the email that I got through Warfighter Athletic. But essentially it's going, okay, cool. I'm lacking motivation for the gym. I'm lacking motivation for training. And so instead of just leaving it up to chance that somewhere within the given day, you're going to go and train, we're going to cultivate discipline. And how do we do that? By having routine, by having a schedule, and then sticking to it. One day at a time is how we build discipline. So, for example, if you know that if you generally leave the workout or your workout to the afternoon, then if you're feeling tired or you just don't feel like going, if you then more often than not on those days where you're lacking that motivation, you just flag the gym, then just set it every single morning at a specific time. Could be 0500, 0600, whatever that time is for you. Just set a time within the given day that you will go to the gym, and you go to the gym at that exact time every single day. When you have that hard stop, I guess I would call it, when you have that hard stop, you know you're going to wake up, you know you're going to go to the gym, or if it is in the afternoon, and that's the time that you're more likely to go to the gym, it could be 5 o'clock at night, it could be 6 o'clock at night, whatever that is. Okay, just so set that hard stop for that routine, for that pattern, for that behavior that you're trying to build. More often than not, when you build it into your routine, you're going to go and get that thing done. The next thing, which is an overarching layer that should be included in any goal, I read a book, been reading a book, Atomic Habits, recently, and I really love it because anytime I've achieved anything great, or anytime I've really felt like I'm at my best or my most dangerous, is when I've set a goal or I've set out to become something or to achieve something, but instead of just having it as this goal that I'm working towards, essentially it's becoming it. It's not just setting a goal, it's changing your whole identity and belief around who you are. And so here's an example. As I was becoming a commando and working towards my goal as a commando, when I first started working with helicopters, they scared the shit out of me. Rappelling out of a helicopter, hanging off the side of a helicopter, if you're swarm roping, when you go to get onto the rope, the only thing keeping you attached to the frame, to the airframe, is the seatbelt you're holding onto, and the other hand that is holding onto the rope. That is it. After a period of time of training in that environment, I made a mental switch, maybe you could call it an identity switch, where I just decided that this is just what commandos do. We hang off helicopters, we jump out of helicopters, we slide down ropes, we blow indoors, and we get shit done. And when I made that switch, the fear went away. And as the fear went away, supreme confidence and absolute confidence came in its place. And so that's the next thing. When you're setting up this routine, when you're building these behaviors, when you're building this discipline, don't just think of it as building this routine external of yourself. You're actually building it within yourself. You are changing the way you view yourself. You're changing your identity. And it's not, I have to get up at 0500 or 0600 to go to the gym. It's, I get up at 0500 or 0600 because that's what I do. That's what warfighters do. That's what the pursuit of excellence looks like. That's what it takes to get the job done. And that's what I'm willing to do to get the job done to achieve my goal, because that's just who I am as a person. And so I think my last point there is if you're lacking that drive, more often than not, it's not just an issue with the goal not exciting you or forgetting your deep underlying why of why you started, although that all comes into it. It comes down to your identity, and the way you view yourself and the way you see yourself isn't in alignment with the goal that you're trying to achieve. And again, you're not just trying to achieve a goal of working on your fitness. You're not trying to achieve a goal of improving your run times. You should be changing your mindset to becoming someone who pursues excellence, to someone who is becoming an everyday athlete, to someone who is becoming the 1% of police officers, someone who is the 1% of soldiers, sailors, or airmen in their unit. You're becoming the 1% of the military and going for special operations or going for a specialist unit or a tactical team. Again, it's not just a goal, it's an identity shift and an identity change. And when you work on that identity shift and when you work on that identity change, you see yourself in a different light. Doing the work then becomes easy. Fitzy out.